Welcome to the Dusty Muffins, where menopause meets sisterhood and strength. We're three menopause specialists coming together to laugh, share, and empower you through the wild ride of menopause and perimenopause. Whether you're curious, confused, or just looking for real talk, you're in the right place. We're here to answer your burning questions, educate, and advocate, all with a dash of humor and a lot of heart. So pull up a chair and join the conversation. Before we dive in, please remember, while we're doctors, we're not your doctors. This podcast is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for medical advice. We encourage you to partner with your own medical clinician to address your unique health needs. This is the Dusty Muffins. Welcome back to the Dusty Muffins, the podcast where three midlife menopause specialists get real about the messy, marvelous, and sometimes maddening magic of midlife. I'm Rebbecca Hertel. I'm a board-certified osteopathic family medicine physician and a menopause-certified practitioner.
I'm Hart Kress, a board-certified women's health nurse practitioner and certified menopause practitioner from Virginia.
And I'm Aoife O'Sullivan, a board-certified family physician and Menopause Society certified practitioner. And I have a telemedicine practice and see patients in Oregon and Washington.
Yes, so today's a big one. We are beyond excited to have one of the most badass, science-based, sex-positive voices in the game joining us today. The incredible and funny, let me add, Dr. Kelly Casperson.
Dr. Casperson is a board-certified urologic surgeon, hormone and sex medicine specialist, award-nominated podcaster, speaker, and the creator of the wildly popular podcast, You Are Not Broken. She's basically the queen of demystifying desire, hormones, and sexual wellness for women.
And she's here with us today to blow the lid off some serious midlife myths. We're talking desire, orgasms, testosterone, and medications like flibanserin, otherwise known as Addy, and bremelanotide, otherwise known as Vyleesi. Plus, why you are definitely not broken if your sex drive has gone missing.
And a fun little fact, I actually went to college in Kelly's hometown of Duluth, Minnesota. So we're going to find out who survived the ice cold weathers better, me or Dr. Casperson surviving a career in surgery. So let's get into it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thanks.
And I'm everybody's friend.
You didn't say yes, friend. And everyone's friend. Yes.
Everyone's friend, exactly. And along those lines, tell us how your trip to Australia went.
Oh my gosh, it was insane. So I had the good fortune of being asked to speak at the Sydney Opera House for the So Hot Right Now menopause event. It was a 3-hour extravaganza. The best part was the standing ovation, though. Did I tell you guys about the standing ovation?
No.
Tell us.
It was the best part. Okay, so 3-hour event. It was amazing. It was a mix of talks and round tables and all the things. And we got a full house standing ovation all the way to the back, sold out, 2,500 people, 2,500 people sold out, standing ovation to the back of the house, right? So we're driving to dinner that night and I'm kind of poo-pooing it. Not that I'm dismissing it, but I'm like, oh, it's very common for us to get standing ovations because this is such a powerful message. Women feel seen. There's a lot of emotion that comes up in these talks. So I'm kind of poo-pooing it yeah, obviously, right? And they're like, Kelly, you don't understand. Australians don't stand. And I'm like, excuse me? And they're like, they don't stand. They're like, you don't tip at the restaurants, you don't stand for events. And the woman who emceed it, her name is Shelley Horton, and she is Australian. She's like, Kelly, I've been emceeing events in Sydney, Australia for 30 years, and today was my third standing ovation.
Stop it. Oh my God.
No way. Because I'm we've seen Kelly get a standing ovation when we were the last time we saw you
so
talk.
Then I was, so I was just like, it went from you guys, we always get standing ovations, for them to be like, culturally, you don't understand. We don't stand for people. And I was like, oh shit, this was big then. And they're like, this was very big.
We're going to hear some much to that one.
Yes. We got a standing ovation in Sydney, Australia, and they don't stand.
Wow.
Kelly was over there
serving
some
a bunch of. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was awesome.
So Kelly,
I was super happy about the talk. I wanted to do the talk no PowerPoint. They're like, you're raw dogging this talk, and I'm like, yeah, I'm raw dogging this talk.
That's what she does,
right? Because I'm like, I just want to get to I'm at that point where I want a challenge and so it's like fully memorized, 20-minute, lots of laughs, very funny. You can actually buy the event online now. I don't know if you go to So Hot right now. I don't know. Maybe find the link and put it in the
on
show.
there.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, we can do that.
It's recommended. It's really good.
Yeah. And I could not do that in my late perimenopause, is remember much of like 5 minutes, let alone an entire
Dude, I was
talk.
freaked out. I was like, because I didn't watch it, and I watched it for the first time last week. I was so freaked. I was like, if I repeat something in this talk, I'm going to be so upset at myself, because I'm like, don't know, you're like, did I repeat something?
Yeah, and then your nerves are up, so then you forget. And no, I watched it. It was good. It was good.
And you've done TED Talk before, right?
Yeah.
So you had to memorize for that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I had the understanding of what that actually takes. Like, it's when people do that, like, it's unbelievably hard work. Like, or perhaps it's natural for some people. For me, it's unbelievably hard work. So I was happy to be able to do that. It's just nice to not have PowerPoints to fall back on. It is. Give people the experience they came for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it comes more from the heart when you don't have to worry about the PowerPoint slides. It does.
I mean, it's really like, it becomes embodied, where you're like, this is my message. And it's very cool.
I did that at a just a very small little event in a local salon. I didn't have anything, and we set aside a couple hours, and I couldn't believe it. You're right. It just started flowing, and all the information starts to flow because we've given these talks and
if you know your
and
stuff.
This is what we do. And I just don't know that I could do it in front of like a large audience. I'd be like, hi.
Well, now, I mean, it's like, it's, for the lack of a better word, I'm broken, but I don't mean that. But it's like, dude, I given a talk to 2,500 people at the effing Sydney Opera House. Like, I ain't afraid of anything anymore. The Monday after, we did an event for 258 women at a nice city hall up in Newcastle, Australia. It was a wonderful event. Same thing. I was like, these are the 3 things I want to talk about. No PowerPoints. Just went up on stage and talked. But you're like, 258 now? Like, on stage? Not a problem.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
Kelly,
I'm broken.
I was trying to find the link there to give it, but I can't find it at the moment. I'll keep looking for it to tell our listeners. But
you put your show notes.
At the Sydney Opera House was for everybody, right? But then the next day there was an actual medical conference as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part too.
How did that go?
We were busy. We worked hard for our Vegemite, for our koala petting. So yeah, Sydney Opera House was Saturday night, 2,500 people, general audience. Lots of medical people were there, but general audience. Then Sunday was a menopause conference in Sydney. That was somewhere between 300 and 400 people. Phenomenal as well. It was me, Mary Claire, Louise Newsom, Bondo Wright. I talked about testosterone and GSM and sexual function. And then I did another Monday night in Newcastle, which was, again, general population. The interesting thing about traveling and giving these talks is, like, you realize that the problems are everywhere. Mm-hmm. And, Australia, and in my talk I say, like, the whole world envies Australia because it has the government-approved female testosterone product. By the company's calculations, 0.3% of Australian women are on that product.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And the stats are, a couple of things. Number 1, people don't know about it. Number 2, the stigma of testosterone. Okay. Number 3, the stigma of sexual health. So the indication is libido, and women get dismissed. Like, what do you want a libido for? Either you're not married or you're middle life or whatever. Right. So it's like all these little stigma pieces keep adding up to like really crappy access.
Yeah, it's shocking.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Would have thought it would have been much higher. Like, we're all like jonesing.
Oh my gosh. Right. Try to get it off.
Did you bring a few tubes home, Kelly?
Yeah.
Her bag. She bought a second suitcase.
I bought a big vulva bag, but
did you sneak it inside the vulva?
Yeah, right. Statistically, Australia seems to be using hormones more. I mean, estrogen, progesterone. That stat is around 10 or 15. And, America, of course, it's hard to measure because we use so much compounded. But like Menopause Society said 5% in America. So they're by and large probably using more estrogen progesterone, but they're not using, for having a testosterone product, they're not using it.
Yeah. And when you guys all went to dinner and stuff afterwards, did you all have a good laugh? Had you met Dr. Louise Newson in person before?
I'd never met her in person before.
No. Did you all, was it good fun in the evenings?
Lovely. Oh my God. She's so smart. She's so funny. She's so mission driven. Like my favorite thing, like I would get like, I'd be like, well, don't you think that blah, blah, blah? And she'd be like, obviously, Kelly. Obviously.
I love that.
The whole time, obviously, Kelly.
That's why we listen to Aoife talk too. She has the best way. I'm like, I just like her words. It just
I'm like, don't you think it's crazy that X, Y, and Z? And she's like, obviously, Kelly. Like, it was like a very validating, great bond. But she's incredible. So like, I was happy to connect with her, but I was shocked by how well we connected. Like, really. I felt kindred souls. She's doing God's work in the UK. It's not easy over there. So she's doing God's work.
She is routinely dragged over the coals
for no good reason.
Yep. How long were you there for altogether, Kelly?
8 nights.
Oh yeah. Did you get any time to actually explore?
Yeah.
I went on some walks. I did get to pet a koala. We went to like a koala wallaby thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
Farm, zoo, refuge, sanctuary, home, farm, place. I had no idea like wombats were so big.
Yeah. Aren't they so cute?
They're like these massive teddy bears. And I'm like, that's about bigger than they are in my head. They have things that they have like shark nets on all the beaches because there's sharks everywhere. And I'm like, no, thank you.
Oh, I love it.
Stay away from those.
That was a long flight.
Yeah, one of the other weird things was that I got heckled at dinner. So again, they don't tip in like, service industry there. So maybe that was part of it, but they also have a very big drinking culture. And so it's like the combination of the two led to this, but I'm having like, we're very nice dinner looking over the Sydney Harbor, the night of the Sydney Opera House event. And the waiter comes by and he's like, you want some wine? You want blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no, thank you. And he goes, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm being heckled by a waiter right now for not drinking. This is insane. And I'm like, I can't explain my whole why to this dude, nor do I care. And so I'm like, just not tonight, thank you.
But thank you. Oh my gosh. Do you have any non-alcoholic?
Yeah, I'm like, I'll just have
what's wrong with you, American?
God, I know. I was like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, oh my God.
I love it.
Kelly, let's talk orgasms because I've been dying to talk about that. What's that?
I said fantastic.
Fantastic. When I read your book, that was the first time that I had seen that only 20 to 30% of women have an orgasm with penile penetration. And I had shared with these guys that I had always thought there was something wrong with me because I have never. And, I don't know where I learned that you're supposed to, probably somewhere in someone talking about a G spot, right? And so like just to have that weight lifted off me, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not broken. And then interestingly enough, I told my husband the same thing, and we have never had this conversation. And he's like, well, I knew that. I'm like, what? He's like, yes. I spent so much time. And I'm like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I asked my son, he's 27. And so I asked him and he was like, duh. He goes, of course the clitoris needs stimulation. So somewhere between 1980 and like, I don't know, 10 years ago, 2014 or so, like the sex ed changed.
Good. I mean, the data says sex ed's getting worse. So
yeah,
glad it's happening. Right. Yeah, glad it's happening where your son's growing up.
Yeah. So why do you think why do you think women don't know this? I mean, I know that was part of your reason of writing the book is to give us real sex ed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I made it all the way through medical school without knowing that. It was only when I started really becoming obsessed with the topic did I find the data. And I mean, we don't get. First of all, do you even remember seeing a clitoris in any sex ed? Like it's like ovaries, fallopian tubes, uterus, or med school, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's completely pleasure void. It's a disease and pregnancy prevention plan. But like my whole thesis is a lot of adult problems could be solved with good education. And it's like, you know, we just don't know. And it's such a shameful topic. So we internalize it. We think there's something wrong with us, or we think there's something wrong with our partner, like all at the same time. And it's just like, hey, did you know? And then people are like, I didn't know. And you're like, yeah, you're not broken. And that's like where the name of the podcast came from, is me just being like, oh yeah, you're not broken. That's normal. Rub a scrotum. It doesn't come. Rub a vagina. It doesn't orgasm. Right. Like, it's close.
Right. But they don't get that part until you like show them. This is this.
Yeah,
this
and you know the heteronormative theory of sex is very like penile centric. I mean, the orgasm gap's insane, and people just don't know.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the orgasm gap for a second?
Oh yes.
I wonder if people know about that. Yeah.
So the orgasm gap is basically looking at it in a coupled relationship. How often does one person have an orgasm versus the other, as a marker for pleasure? Of course, pleasure is not just orgasm, but as a marker for pleasure. And the gap is the widest in the heterosexual relationship. The man clocks in around 96, 97% of the time, to which they're like, what can I do to get the other 4%? You know? and then the heterosexual woman's around 65%, and that's in a partnered loving relationship. If it's hookup sex, and this is like my new thing, is like screaming to the young girls of like, hookup sex in university culture does not benefit you. What the fuck are you doing it for?
Yep.
Hookup culture sex of female orgasms around 6% of the time. So very male centric view.
I believe that.
And it's not all the thing like, oh, it's because women's bodies are more difficult, or it's more challenging, or it's all debunked. This is a sociologic reason. This is not biologic. This is not physiologic. This is socio-cultural conditioning on who's supposed to be experiencing pleasure. And when sex ends, when only one person has an orgasm, we normalize that.
Yeah.
And these universities, and these universities too, they're doing this, you know, they're drinking. I don't know how many women can actually have an orgasm once they are drunk or drinking. They're, you know, so.
And let's talk about that. Like, the amount of unsafe sex that happens, coercive sex, and worse, because of alcohol involved, is very highly correlated. And it's like, I want women to understand that. I want them to have that knowledge, to be like, this is the game that everybody's playing, and it's completely stacked against you. It's okay to not play this game, because it's insanely stacked against you at this point.
Yeah, that's a great message.
Do you think it's more concerning? Like, where do you tell women they should be concerned, like, about orgasm? Like, in terms of, okay, so, you know, only 30% will have an orgasm with penile penetration, but from a, you know, like a refer patients to maybe urology, is it when they can't have an orgasm at all with penetration? Or is that more sex therapy and learning how, you know, the mind-body connection and learning how to let go?
Yeah, well, first of all, great question. So we normalize the fact that like putting something in the vagina is not the best way for a female to orgasm. Normalize that. Clitoris is what we have to do. Usually external, it can be internal and external, but clitoris in general. So just re-educating on how your body's built. And then we break down orgasm into primary anorgasmia or secondary anorgasmia. So primary is, I've never had an orgasm in my life, even with self-pleasure, never happened. Be like, okay, tend to put that person towards sex therapy. Great book. It's an old book. It's called Sex for One. Betty Dodson did a lot of work in the 70s on educating women how to orgasm. So great resource there. A secondary anorgasmia is, I used to have great orgasms and now I can't. And so now I'm thinking, is it hormones? Do we need to replace those? Do we have clitoral phimosis? Do we have lichen sclerosis? Do we have, you know, some spinal pathology in the hips? Something where we're like, hey, the hardware used to, she knows how, because again, in our society, we don't teach women that pleasure is even allowed. Right. So is it a you haven't culturally been given the permission and you don't know how, or is it, no, you knew how, now it doesn't work, now we're going to think more kind of biologic reasons.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's just so much to it. And I think starting with educating, our young females, not just when they get to midlife, but starting at that, puberty, learning about your body to begin with. Let's just start there. Let's learn. Let's call our genitalia what they are, and then we move from there. Then we start talking to our teens and young adults about how an orgasm works and how they should be treated, and that it's so that sex is important for them. And then you go into midlife women. Like today, she came to me and said, hey, I'm only doing this for my husband because I feel like I really should be having sex with him. I just don't have a libido anymore. And I sat back and I said, we're not doing this for your husband. We need to do this for you. Otherwise, this isn't going to work. But let's talk about it,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is so under-researched. I'm very fascinated by it. The most research we have is in university students because they're easy to research because they're like sitting ducks, right?
Rabbits.
But the rabbits, yeah, and they have sex. But the coerciveness of sex in long-term relationships, and I'm doing this for another person, I'm doing this to keep somebody happy, I'm doing this because I should, like, it is glaringly huge problem, under-researched, extraordinary. If I had dollars for, like, that's what I would research. There's not much on it. I wrote a Substack on it like last month, and people were like, thank you so much for talking about it, because it's way bigger than you think it is. But women aren't ever, I mean, if you're not taught that pleasure's for you, if you're taught that it's a good wife duty just to have sex to keep somebody else happy, like, our culture is set up for women to have that experience.
Yep.
When my Vulva Puppet arrived the other day, I threatened my daughters to arrange with their principals to go in and give a proper sex ed talk. They were both horrified, left the table pretty quickly, and we have not discussed it again since then.
Well done. You're
I'll walk around with mine. Mm-hmm. I walk around with mine, and my boys are like, what are you doing?
But your purple puppet vulva is quite majestic.
I love that.
It's beautiful.
Very royalty.
And purple is my favorite color, so I feel like it was meant to be.
I just feel like the default color is like this royal.
Loves me too.
This royal plush, velvety, silky look.
As it
Nobody's
should
coming
be.
in like, where's the red checkered vulva? Like, that doesn't sell as much.
No,
that's not selling.
It is royalty.
There are some interesting ones on her website. There's one that is like, it's called a beaver fur, I think, and it's got a lot of beaver fur around the edge. I don't know if it's genuine beaver fur or it's faux beaver fur, but it's
She's really cool though. The maker of those puppets. I mean,
she was a trip.
She only gets.
What happened at Ishwish with the vulva puppets? Were there? I heard there was like 200 of them.
It was
that did Heather Quayle bring a whole bunch of vulva puppets to Ishwish? Like, what happened?
No, this
had
woman
a vulva puppet for a while.
Yeah. So Heather Quayle ordered those silicone ones that are sold to men online to use for pleasure at home. But she bought 100 of those or so for the course that was on the first day of Ishwish, where they were doing pelvic exams. Injections? Or
is this the one? Is this the same vulva that Rachel Rubin did a reel about the labia minora going away, and now it's like gone completely viral?
Isn't it nuts?
Is it that? Is it like that stretchy, clear?
It's like that balloony looking one.
It's not the clear, but there were some like that too.
It's a skin colored one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Vulva Puppet lady had a stall at the Ishwish meeting.
She was a trip.
Was usually quite busy.
She hand makes them.
Quite the hippie.
And then, I mean, the fabrics are coming from exotic places, and
check out her website, everybody.
It was really cool.
Yeah, is there a
Oh,
Dusty Muffins discount code now for the Vulva Puppet?
Oh, we should contact her and ask.
I know
we
we
should. Yes,
Yes.
these are all the things. Yes, there will be Dusty Muffin discount codes because I just
I'll
think
look up
that's
her
fun to say.
website so I can tell you what it is.
Mhm.
yeah.
Please use
But
Dusty Muffin.
keep it's Wondrous Vulva Puppet. Is it time to move on to some
Yes.
medications?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Adian and Vyleesi, which I can flubanserin and brilomantide. I can't do it. So, but they're
I was
two
glad
FDA.
Aoife had
I
that part.
know. And I have a little story about them, you guys, and I'm felt honestly a little broken. So I might go off a little bit on the tangent because I was like, what the hell? I'm going to try this. I use testosterone. It's fine. It's okay. And I'm like, I'm going to use Vyleesi. I'm not going to use Addie. I don't want to take a pill every day just to have sex. And so I'm like, but I got to tell my patients what this is like. And I thought I could actually check it out. And I'm like, it didn't work for me. It didn't work at all. And
Did it make you
so
nauseous?
it made me feel terrible. I'll tell you, I did it at night. We were going to dinner and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this thing ready. Right. So I had him help me with it. He was all excited. And I honestly, I got a headache and I almost felt like I had like 2 drinks because that really is all it takes if I ever have a cocktail. And so I felt a little fuzzy in the head and I was super nauseated. And I looked at him and I was like, I love you. I feel like shit. I'm going to
Don't
bed.
touch me.
Yeah, well, I
So
mean,
then-
nausea is the biggest
Yeah.
side effect.
And I
Somebody
had
just
a
prescribed
Zofran, but it
with-
wasn't like
Oh, see?
so terrible. It wasn't so terrible. But I'll tell you, I did feel some tingles when I went to bed, but I was nauseated and I was like, ugh. And so the next day, and this is what's so interesting about the brain about with that, because I sat there and I thought of you, Kelly, and I was like, boy, maybe I am broken for a second. I'm like, it really didn't work. And then he and I
Brains
were
are
talking and
assholes.
brains are assholes. And that's what it was. I'm like, nope, it's my brain. I have so much going on right now with, a new practice and, kid stuff and work stuff and travel and our new podcast and all these things. I think it's my brain. And I just don't think I want to stop what I'm doing to go do this. But if you and I were on vacation together, I think we would be having sex every day, probably multiple times a day. So I kind of had that epiphany and it was really...
Did you book your vacation then?
Yeah.
Girl.
I know. Soon. So I kind of wanted, to start with that because I didn't have an experience when we were first doing this and now I do. So, talk to us a little bit about Addie and Vyleesi and these 2 FDA approved medications for premenopausal women.
Yep. So these are our non-hormonal, brain-centric medications currently FDA approved for premenopausal. Does that mean they don't work in postmenopausal? No. Does that mean it's illegal to prescribe them to postmenopausal people? No. It's
right.
just that the damn FDA thought there was a wonderful difference between women the day before their year of no periods and the day after their year of no periods, which we call premenopausal and postmenopausal. You might have trouble getting insurance to cover it if you prescribe it postmenopausal, but to tell you the truth, insurance is a jerk with sex meds anyways.
Yeah.
So a lot of premenopausal, even though it is FDA approved, a lot of insurances have sexual health riders on them.
Yeah.
Blink
RX.
Cover sexual health.
You can
Blink
get 4
RX
for like $99.
Is there a Dusty Muffin discount code?
We're going to get Dusty Muffin discount code. That's 2 now.
Yeah. You're like, thanks to Kelly coming on, our business is booming.
Yes.
So they work in the brain by basically increasing dopamine. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter involved in seeking out pleasure. So a lot of people think like, oh, you get a dopamine hit by getting the reward. It's actually seeking out something that is then pleasurable. That is like a big part of the dopamine hit. So you increase the dopamine and you're like, oh, okay, I want to seek out pleasure more. I think that big mistake is that these medications won't make you desire something that wasn't desirable in the first place. It won't. These medications will not make you want mushy broccoli. They will not make you want melted ice cream. They will not make you want painful sex. Like that's not how it works. And I think again, that's where it's like I'm stoked there's medications. Like absolutely, I'm very pro medication. But I always joke, like, I don't prescribe on the first date. And what I mean by that is a woman doesn't understand the clitoris and that she can't usually orgasm by putting something in her vagina, and that her stress life and her sleep affect her interest in sex. So it's like, you got to learn all of that, because otherwise a prescriber's like, here, take some testosterone, take flibanserin, whatever. And then the woman fails it and she feels broken, because now instead of like you just having issues with sex, you're a medication failure.
Yep.
And that feels even shittier. Right. So I think, do medications have a place? Absolutely. Do we need more options? Yes, please. We have options, and even the options we have, what's the point of having options if you can't access them? Yep. So certainly I don't want anybody, and I don't think I'm saying I'm anti-medication. I'm pro-education.
Yep.
And if you're having an orgasm 60% of the time to your partner's 95% of the time, sex just isn't as rewarding for you as your partner. Right. So giving you a medication to try to desire something that is inherently not desirable is a fool's errand.
Yep.
So
and don't take that medication. We're saying don't take that medication if you're busy.
Yeah, if you're busy, it's not going to make more time in your life for pleasurable things. But I mean, I always ask women, like, hey, when you go to the party, do you like the party? Is the party nice? And they're like, yeah, I could take it or leave it. Like, okay, well, I can't make you desire a take it or leave it type of party. Mm-hmm. But if you're like, the party's great, like I always forget like how much fun we have and blah, blah, blah. And you also have to suss out response desire versus spontaneous desire, right? Again, the sex ed we never got is like, it's totally normal to not be desiring sex because you got kids, you got a job, you got podcasts, you got aging parents to take care of, whatever it might be. Taxes are due. Like, you're not thinking about sex, that's totally normal. But you put yourself into a sexual context, you actually calm your nervous system, you become accepting, relaxing, pleasurable world. And then you're like, oh, I like this. I just forget to prioritize it. That's not a desire problem. That's a prioritizing how you want to live your life problem. And a medication won't do that for you.
That's right. And I think that's a huge point, especially in this room of women who are busy with all of those things. And we do counsel our women about that, for them just to stop and be like, you might be right. Okay. I'm just busy and I need to carve out that time. And it's important to carve out that time because it's so easy just to keep running on that, on that treadmill, on that little hamster wheel, and just keep doing those things.
Yeah. I mean, I always like normalize sex, right? Like, sex isn't this like unique thing that has its own set of rules. I'm like, listen, I would love to just sit on the couch and spontaneously desire fitness and vegetables, but I don't, right? But I like fitness and vegetables in my life, so I have to carve out time to make those things happen. And it's not usually before that I'm desiring them. It's like during and after. And I'm like, I really like salads and like spin class. Right. But like not before, I'm not sitting around spontaneously desiring it. And it's just, again, the stigma, and I think it's Hollywood's to blame, but it's like that you should just sit around desiring sex all day. Mm-hmm. That's not how our brains work. Like, it might be when you're like chilling and you're 17 and you've got no taxes to pay. You don't have a mortgage. You don't have kids you're responsible for. You got plenty of free time. Sex might be higher up in the priority list. Your hormones are replete.
The honeymoon phase, all of those things. Yeah.
So it's just, making women feel like their experience is very normal. It's like most experts agree that scheduling sex is a pro move.
Yeah. And isn't it funny that a lot of women and men both think like, well, what's the point if you have to schedule sex? I'm like, well, just schedule everything else. Your hair, dinner.
You go to your job on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you schedule everything. You shower in the morning, usually around 7 a.m. Like, you schedule everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, you brush your teeth twice a day on a schedule. Like, we live regimented lives. Like, block out some time for intimacy. Mm-hmm. But it's like, sex is special. No, it's not.
That's good. That's good to hear, because when I had kids in the house, that's what my husband and I used to do is we would schedule Sunday night, 9:30, don't call us. And then even the dogs know, because we tell the dogs now it's sex night and they scatter off the bed.
No, they don't.
They sure do.
I love it.
I got a new dog.
Take a video.
I know.
Yes. Yes. Take a video.
But I want to see you saying that and having the dogs run off the bed.
They run off the bed and they stay down. Except
oh my God. My nosy ass dogs are like, what are you doing to her?
You know, one of the things when we were at Ishwish that they were that the Vyleesi rep was talking about is they did a trial and showed that Vyleesi increased orgasm response. And so I was, so now I've been using Vyleesi for the anorgasmic women after we've already done like vaginal estrogen, testosterone cream, and I tried it now on 3 patients. One of them said it made her so nauseous she wasn't interested. But the advice I gave her was try it once solo and self-pleasure. Don't involve your partner in case you're so nauseous. And then the other one was like, she said because she had lost, she told me I lost my orgasm, the strength. And she said it did help. So, and then I was happy. And I think what a lot of clinicians don't know is, can you use testosterone with Vyleesi or Addyi with testosterone?
Oh, sure.
Why not? But I think it's something that not all clinicians know, right?
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah. We just talked about that somewhere about using both. I can't recall. I'd
love to see a study, but we don't need a study to know that you can do that. Flibanserin also has good orgasm data.
Ooh, does it?
And they're using it in men. That's the other thing. It works in all genders.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, here's a pop quiz. So it's marketed to women, says for women only. It's in a effing pink box. The FDA label is hypoactive sexual desire disorder in women. What percentage of all prescriptions in America are for men of that drug?
Oh.
Something tells me we're going to be a step.
It's going to be high.
It's bigger than 0.
60?
No, it's 10%.
10?
Which is more than the number of women on menopausal hormone therapy in the United States.
Correct.
Because I
don't know how many total prescriptions of Addyi are sold in.
But still.
Yeah.
But from the last thing I heard, it was about 10% are off-label for men. So here we are, like, I don't know about postmenopausal women. I'm like, fuck it, 10% are like 10% of the prescriptions go to men.
Right.
Don't tell me a postmenopausal woman can't have this. Come on.
Yeah. I think it's or the premenopausal with testosterone. So let's move into
for them.
Yeah, probably. So let's go into testosterone.
Wait, say that again. I missed it.
I said, I bet you insurance probably pays for the dude. No,
don't get me started.
Yeah. So let's talk about how it can help midlife women. That's the difference between testosterone and these other medications.
Sure. Well, so ovaries make testosterone. And when we are having our period time of our life, we have 4 times the amount of testosterone than estrogen. We just have about 10 to 20 times less testosterone than male bodies. But 4 times the amount of testosterone than estrogen. So you have to, I always start with that, because otherwise women will be like, who is this crazy doctor trying to get me to take a male hormone? It's like,
their mouth drops, right? They're like,
yeah. Oh, listen, I wasn't taught this in med school either.
Mm-mm.
We made it all the way through medical school not knowing this. That's embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
And residence. Yeah, true. She's an overachiever.
Multiple countries.
Yeah.
So we've been giving testosterone to women for 80 years.
Isn't that crazy? Right.
Second of all, this is one of my. I have many favorite things about testosterone, but this is one of my favorite things. What medication do we use where we give willing volunteers 10 times the therapeutic dose and see how they do?
Testosterone.
0, except for testosterone, because they're called trans men.
Yep.
And we have a 30-year safety data paper, and we have a 50-year safety data paper.
Do we just need to rename this whole process and call it gender affirming care? Call all of it gender affirming care?
Maybe. I don't know if that's going to work towards us or against us. Just as far as like a branding thing. But I would like to rebrand them neurohormones. These are neurohormones.
Yes.
They work in the brain. Where I was like, where's libido located? The brain.
The brain.
Yeah.
I've been using the neuroendocrine because I heard you say that. I've been telling people.
Oh, that's trademarked, Christine. You shouldn't be doing that.
It's trademarked.
Yeah, is that trademarked?
Oh.
Do you have a discount code for that?
I'm just kidding.
I do give Kelly credit for it. Does that help?
I didn't come up with it.
I use the party analogy a lot. I'm like, I like it. It works. Yeah.
But I mean, so like the conservative arm of the medical field who says that testosterone doesn't help mood, it's only for libido. I'm like, it's literally called getting in the mood.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't make this up, right? And
No.
I mean, the other thing of testosterone is it's not just for desire. It helps every single domain of sexual health. So arousal, orgasm. We have papers where testosterone helps distress the distress of sex. Meaning, not that, what am I trying to say? I'm distressed because it's not functioning well. And then you give people testosterone, their distress goes down. That's what I'm trying to say. So distress, what's that? Well, that's an effing mood also. Okay, so we've already told you that it's helping with 2 moods. So tell me again how this doesn't help with mood. Like, it's just, it's so obvious to me that it's like infuriating. And then Dr. Louise Newsom's team published it's a prelim study, and I'll call out the negative things about it up front so nobody calls me out. But it's like, they didn't check lab values, and they didn't have a placebo arm. But what they did do is they said, these women are already on estrogen. We're not changing their estrogen dose. And they put them on testosterone, and they gave them like a 12-point scale of mood and cognition. And like significant mood improvements on testosterone.
Yeah.
So
are
we surprised? Men's moods get better on testosterone. You know, it's like it's in all bodies. So it's like the data we have is there. It's just that nobody talks about it. And I'm always like, yes, we need more data, but it's a generic medication that's not patentable. There's not a lot of interest in groundbreaking research at this point.
And I don't know how you can see patients and treat them and not see from almost every patient that comes back to you. If you listen to them, they tell you all the things that have changed in their life. Since
I always joke. I'm always like,
a
woman never comes back. Yeah, a woman never comes back and is like, the only thing it's helped is my libido.
Right.
Never.
What I never say is, I have had all these other positive things, but my libido hasn't changed. That's what I hear the most often.
I hear the same thing. Everything's clear.
And to be fair, for people to know this, like, libido can take a while. Like, it can take 4 to 6 months for libido to kick back in. And so setting those expectations up front for people, so you're not just like ramping up the dose at week 6, is like, give us some time. Start seeing. And again, it won't carve out time to prioritize sex. But like, I always say, like, Glenn Powell, from the second Top Gun movie. You know what I'm talking about? Like, titrate to Glenn Powell's attractiveness.
I love that.
When you want to rip Glenn Powell through your computer screen, you're probably at a good testosterone dose.
No more titrating.
I have a thing
no
for
more
Glenn
titrating.
Yeah. I don't need my testosterone to go any higher. He is fine.
Yeah. That should be in the literature.
That
titrate the Glenn Powell effect.
Titrate to Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell effect. That's it. Awesome. Trademark that quickly.
Or discount code, one or the other.
Yeah, on a scale of I never want sex again to Glenn Powell's the finest thing on earth, where are you? Okay, you're an 8. Great. Glenn Powell scale.
Oh, Christine, this is your turn. This is
Yeah. So Kelly, want to
I'm
play a
looking
little
forward to this
a
one.
little game with
Yeah.
us? Well,
I'm looking forward
muffin
to it.
rapid fire.
Okay.
Okay. Just want the first word or sentence that comes to your mind when I say the following. The orgasm myth you want to retire forever.
That women's bodies are difficult.
Okay. First word that comes to mind when I say the word testosterone.
Fuck yeah.
Sydney or Duluth?
Sydney.
Ouch. Poor Duluth.
It's cold as hell in Duluth.
Listen, Duluth. It's amazing. People. Like, there's 2 schools of thought about Duluth, Minnesota. The first school of thought is it's amazing anybody reproduces. So fucking cold. And the second school of thought is there's nothing else to do but reproduce.
That's right.
That's funny. Rebbecca, how many children did you make there?
1.
Oh,
My
Rebecca
oldest,
has 6
yes.
children.
I have 6 children, but I made 1 in Duluth the year I graduated college.
Was it in the winter or was it in the summer?
It was in the winter.
You see, she's in the there's nothing else to do but reproduce camp.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. All right. Worst sex myth you've heard in clinic.
Oh God. This wasn't in clinic, but it was bad. I heard that if a woman gets a hysterectomy, she won't go through menopause.
Oh boy.
That's pretty bad. All right. Last one. Muffin or croissant?
Muffin.
What kind?
You heard it all.
Dusty?
Like a fresh, warm banana chocolate chip.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
We like our muffins dusty, Kelly.
Yeah.
We try to prevent them from
it.
being dusty, but we like the powder dust on top.
So good.
Your book, You're Not Broken, has become a go-to for women trying to reclaim their sex lives. And word on the street has it that you are writing a second book. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the writing is done, my friend.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. How
It's
do you
coming
do
out right
that
now,
so
preliminary. It's
You
coming
are
out
a
September.
powerhouse.
It's coming out September.
Already?
amazing? Holy
Yeah.
shit,
No,
Kelly?
it doesn't make any sense. It's called The Menopause Moment. I had many other names for the book, but it turns out that what's that?
What was the funniest one?
I really wanted to call it Aging in Captivity.
Oh, I like that.
And the
I
reason
do too.
is it's a nod to Esther Perel's Mating in Captivity, which is amazing. So it's a nod to her, and it's also like everybody who says like don't treat menopause because this is natural and you're just naturally supposed to not have hormones and blah blah blah. It's like we're not supposed to effing live. Like I don't know what data you've been sniffing, but like life expectancy is at a record high, and it's like there's I think Aoife knows this. There's a harbor seal at the Portland Zoo who's apparently 48 years old. And average life expectancy for harbor seals in the wild is about 18.
Oh, now
the whole point
that's
is
impressive.
We are living in captivity. Antibiotics have increased our average lifespan by 26 years for the average human. That's unprecedented, right? Sanitation, clean water, safe food supply, not a lot of wars. Like, we are aging in captivity. Therefore, don't tell me any of this is natural and use that as a reason to not treat hormones and menopause. So anyways, it's a long explanation, but but they were like, it takes too long. People think you're going to think about people in jail. Like the publishers didn't like it.
That wasn't my first book.
Right, I know. But so that's what I wanted. But turns out that Amazon search terms this is like me poo-pooing the title of my book, which is probably not nice. But Amazon search terms are king. That's the secret. So Menopause Moment, and it's about, I wanted to write the book because I feel like the 101s have been written now. And yes, we need more and blah, blah, blah. But the 101s have been written. This is a 201 or a 301. And what I mean by that is I'm giving you all the good data on why if you care about living well, aging well, and doing it disease-free, you better take a long, hard look at what hormones can do for you. And so that's the book that has to come after what's a hormone? Are they safe? Are they trying to kill us?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That book's been written now. Now we need the like, oh, you want to not have a hip broken at 82? All right, let's look at the data. And let's start thinking when we're 50 what we want 75 to look like. Because odds are you're going to make it, but are you going to make it disease-free? There was a new study that was looking at the nurses, the big nurses' health study. Like it's like hundreds, it's like all these nurses that they follow longitudinally.
Yep.
The percentage of them that made it to 70 chronic disease-free, 9%.
Oh, wow.
Right?
No thanks.
So like,
no
like people our
thanks.
age, we're stuck in this trap of like, is it natural? Is it right? What does God think? Like we're stuck in this, and it's like, knock it off. Who do you want to be in 20 years? You got to think of it now, because hormones don't treat disease; they prevent it. You got to get on the boat now and think about her then. How do you want to be? So that's the book.
Yeah, that sounds like Louise
awesome.
Newson says. Don't think of it in terms of what are the risks and benefits of taking hormone therapy. You have to turn it around and think, what are the risks of not using hormones? And that sounds exactly like what you're kind of talking about with your book, right? We need to think, how do we stay healthy rather than fix the cracks once they've appeared?
Yep.
Yeah. And I basically tear down the grandmother hypothesis.
Oh, yeah.
I tear down the fact that, oh, this is natural, because I'm like, dude, the wealthiest aristocrats in England were the men who owned land. Okay? They're the only people we kept track of as far as who died and when. Average age, this is only a couple hundred years ago. So as rich and male as you could be, your average age of death was 47.
Wow.
So it's like,
It's crazy.
And they've factored out, even because people will come back and they'll be like, yeah, but infant mortality and like they've factored out infant mortality. If you made it past 5, you still were living maybe 10 years post-menopause, but not 30 or 40, which is an 80% increase. Right? So I really tear down this myth of like, we should just put up with whatever we got right now. It's like, no. We're artificially living long. And if that's true, you might want to consider hormones.
Yeah.
And then I end it with like, what if menopause is optional? And what if in 10 to 15 years we're going to figure out how to keep the ovarian cells going, and all this like taking hormones is just going to be like ancient leech draining at some point.
Without bleeding.
That's what they're without bleeding. But that's what, exactly. Like, do you want to be pregnant when you're 62? No, would we just like a little bit of testosterone, estrogen? So that's the book. It really is like, it's getting rid of a lot of myths. It's very pro hormone. It's very like, female longevity. You can't have that conversation without hormones at this point. And if men had a drug that they could take between age 50 and 60 that let them live 3 years longer, how many of them would take it?
Oh,
97% probably. Yeah.
And they would tell you that. And they would, yeah.
So anyways, I'm very stoked about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think the time is right
awesome.
for like a effing pro hormone book. Like a 201, a 301.
Oh, I can't wait.
Because it's time to move on from like, are we still afraid?
Right.
Yeah.
We're done with that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm done having that conversation.
Yeah. When I give a talk, I always put up a slide of Elsa in Frozen saying, let it go. Let it go. We're past that.
I mean, the best thing about the whole damn thing is the WHI study. I did a reel on Instagram today. The WHI 2002 study is free online. Like, everybody can go read it. It's there.
And look at the
not statistically significant. And it says this probably doesn't apply to bioidentical like estradiol and progesterone. This probably doesn't apply to those medications. It says that in the article.
Oh, it does.
I love that
in the article under the limitation section. It says this could be different with different doses, and it probably doesn't apply to estradiol and progesterone. And transdermal. It says that. It says doesn't apply to transdermal estradiol and progesterone. It's in the effing paper, and we destroyed women's healthcare over that paper.
Oh,
I'm
I know.
surprised Dr. Blooming over in Estrogen Matters hasn't done a post on those two things, because I love following his posts about just how we've changed our minds, right? Or how they've walked back everything themselves, the investigators. That's awesome.
Totally.
That's awesome. Well,
we were going to tell people your podcast is called You Are Not Broken, as if people don't know that already. Instagram is at Kelly Casperson MD and website is kellycaspersonmd.com. Thank you to Dr. Casperson for taking the time to join us here today. It's been an absolute joy getting to talk to you for an hour. Thank you. And to our listeners, if you love this episode, share it with your midlife besties and don't forget to subscribe, leave a review and follow us for more real talk on menopause and midlife wellness. Yay! Bye everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.